Today's trip takes place in the wintertime. It's early January. It was cold, cold, cold this morning. Not whenever I'm filming this part, but in the video it's going to be cold. This takes place mid-May, and it's kind of warm. But the highs for the day of the fishing trip in early January were like the highs in the mid-30s, and the wind was blowing out of the north. It was cold. We're going to be doing some BFS crappie fishing. Started out bass fishing. I didn't like what I was seeing, so decided to switch over, make a crappie trip out of it. Going to go over how I found the crappie. Stick with me. A lot of good fish catches on this one. Kind of had to find an out-of-the-way place, tucked out of the wind a little bit. Found a decent little school of fish. This takes place in early January 2024. It's been extremely cold. We had a hard freeze for a couple days. Everything's thawed out, but the temperatures are still like in the 30s. That's going to be the high for the day, so decided to make a fishing trip because I'm kind of insane. You can see I'm really bundled up. The wind is blowing. It's in the 30s. I'm starting out with a bass crankbait. Didn't really get anything starting out. Tried it for about 30-40 minutes. Now I'm going to switch over to some BFS and try to get some panfish, maybe slow jig for some crappie if I can find any. This is just me switching out that Hybrid Hunter crankbait for the BFS setup using the Corrado BFS. The bait that I'm using on this BFS setup is the Zman Shad Fryz 1/32 ounce micro jig head. That's also a Z-Man product. Working from the north end of this lake where it's more shallow all the way down south, trying to figure out what depth the fish are at, if I can find any. And I've noticed as I've been reeling this Shad Fryz back to me, it's had some schools of really small fry following it, just like hundreds of them just following this bait back. So I know there's some really small bait in here about an inch long, but this northern end is so shallow with it being so cold. I don't think the crappie or white perch, as I like to call them, are going to be in here. So I'm working my way more to the south part of this lake. I'm fishing the trees that are out to my right where it's a little deeper, and the bank line to the left, and I'm just trying to find out what water level the fish might be in. Here we've got a hookup. Whatever this is feels pretty sizable. Feels like it might be a crappie. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's not a bad guy. Got him in the net. Ooh, that's our first fish, so that's a good sign. The crappie are here and they should be biting if we can find them. Just got us a nice BFS crappie. Pretty good size one. Off of a tree. Man, that's a slab right there. I'll try to ease around and see if we can't catch some more. About midways through this small lake, there's a little intersection here, and I think because the water's been blowing from two different directions, it's a little more muddy. So I'm fishing right around here at this intersection. Without a depth finder, it's kind of hard to gauge the depth. I'm thinking that first fish came in about 6 foot of water. It was out from the bank a little bit. So I'm working out from the visible cover that I can see and letting it sink down and hopping it out towards the middle. With it being cold, these fish might be schooled more out. We got something else right here. Let's see. It's going to be another crappie. Oh yeah. That a good crappie right there, guys. In the wind.
On camera, I guess it doesn't look too big, but I was freezing butt cold at that point in time, so you'll have to forgive my excitement. I was excited. And that one come out just from that little tree bush there on the left. So anytime you catch a crappie, they're a schooling fish, so you're going to want to turn around, fish that area thoroughly. And I haven't shown it on camera, but I have been doing that for the other crappie that I've caught. And you know, maybe I've spooked them by getting snagged or something, but I'm working this bush here that's out on the bank a little bit, and I'm about to get my second consecutive fish in the same spot. All the other areas were just single fish. There may have been other fish around and I just didn't figure them out. But here we've got another fish off that same bush.
I'll watch that one thump it. Ooh, that's a healthy boy right there. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Crappie power. Man. That's been the first spot I've caught 2 fish from. So, I hope there's some more. That wasn't a good cast. Anyway, I don't know how big the school is or how far the school goes out, so.
So the way this water's kind of muddy, you can get really close up to that bush, and as long as you're not clanking on the boat or anything like that, you can get close to them and not spook them. So right now I'm just trying to kind of learn the character of this tree here. You know, how far do the underwater limbs go out? Can I get really close to the bush without hanging? How far are the limbs under the water, if there are any under there? And there are some under there. And whenever I do get hung up, I'm just trying to ease over to it and get unhung without shaking the bush too much. So that every little bush, treetop has a little character to it. You kind of have to learn the nuances of it. And here we've got another fish. There's some underwater limbs a few feet out from what you can see. And these fish are coming up from those underwater limbs and smoking this bait. And that's not a bad one either.
Heavy cover white perch. Another healthy rascal there. Oh yeah. Seems to be pretty good whenever I get tension on the line. I let the current drag me a little.
And it'll surprise you just how often you can make that same cast, do the same thing, get bumped.
That's a big old boy. Bump, bump, bump. Oh my gosh. Yes. That is a good one right there. Seems like they're on the outside of these tree limbs right here. Yeah. Golly. Trying to get a grip. Just get a grip. Just get a grip, they say. And we got a grip. Ah! One. That is a good fish.
They are just absolutely stacked on this bush. It's like you can make that same cast, and as long as you're just barely above those underwater limbs, they'll come out and just don't. You can feel it. You can see your line jump. It's a phenomenal bite.
What a beautiful fish. That is a good perch. Rookie hour. Okay.
Got snagged up on my main bush over there, so I ended up turning around, started working my way up this little creek arm here, trying to see if I can find some more, and boop, found one off of an old stump. So this one will keep. Not a bad sized fish. Let's get him in the boat. And we're getting a pretty sizable haul here so far.
If I was on the Bassmaster, I'd be in bad shape. I can't lip a fish to save my life.
I gave my little bush about a 35-minute break or so, came back to it. Gonna see if it's still got the white perch on it. See if there's any more crappies.
Okay. Another decent one. Old wallering boy. Maybe the ticklers ain't too bad. Getting some good wallerers like that. He's shaking his head no. Yeah, my friend. It's a good one. Wiggle, wiggle.
It's amazing how many fish are just stacked up on this little bush here. It's like the whole school is just right in front of me. I can almost feel when I'm going to get a bite. There's a little underwater bush there, and if I can just barely tick it or keep it above it, they will thump it.
Alright.
I know I've said it before, but this 1/32 ounce Z-Man head and the Z-Man plastics, they have a nice kind of slow fall to them. And that allows you, once you gauge the depth of whatever you're throwing to, you can let it sink down real slow and get just where you want it to, and you can almost feel when it's about there. And then you just kind of hop it a little bit, and if those crappie are in the area, they'll usually thump it. If you were to use a heavier head, it would sink down too fast and get hung up in those limbs. You'd never catch those fish.
Keep losing them. Get off.
So you notice I'm looking at that bush. I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to collide into it. And I'm going to make a corrective paddle stroke here very subtly just to get myself away. Facing the front of the bush here, just attacking it at a little different angle. So I've focused more on the right side of the bush so far. Now I'm going to see if there's anything on the left side or the front side of the bush.
Oh, waller bear. Oh, yeah. It's a good perch. Oh, waller bear.
I normally cut out the part where I'm putting the fish in the cooler because it's, just kind of boring. But just notice what happens whenever I'm putting the fish in the cooler this time. It's kind of cool. That line hanging out at the side there, I guess it was just at the perfect height. And I got a pretty decent little crappie here.
That is insane. They're fired up.
Now this is me coming from the front side of the bush. You can see the wind and the current has died down a little bit. We're probably at like a not much tide movement right now, between a high and a low. And the wind is chilled out. So the bite has slowed down a lot too. It was a much better bite when that wind was blowing. I think now that the wind has stopped blowing, the fish have moved really close into that bush, because I had to get really close to the branches of that bush to get that one. And it's not as huge of a fish as the others, but I was just showing that the bite has slowed down, but you can still catch them. So I've worked all around the treetop. Here I'm back on the good old faithful side of it. Okay, another not bad fish. So I'm going to end the video here. So this little cooler bag that I was using, I caught enough fish to absolutely fill it up. This was a very good trip. Wow. So put an absolute hurting on them on this trip. So I didn't include all of the catches because it would have been a super long video. It would have been like 45 minutes just to fish catches. I think I caught enough crappie to where they filled up my ice bag and I was barely able to zip it closed. Really caught them on this trip. Too bad every trip can't be like that. Give BFS a shot. Give those Z-Man baits a shot. They're tough. As long as you don't break the jig head off, they'll last and last and last. Thanks for checking out this video. See you on the next one. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already.